Dr. Tom Roselle live right now, 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. I'm live in studio, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. I've got a couple thoughts to share with you, but if you've had a problem and you've tried and you applied, guess what? This is your opportunity to see if we can put the fire out to really put an answer to the question of why is that and how you can resolve things by yourself. Your body is a do-it-yourself program, so this is our do-it-yourself program. Turn things around. 888-630-WMAL. We're going to talk a little bit about several things today, actually, and one that I want to discuss because it seems to come up all the time, whether I'm giving a lecture someplace or as I did the other night, which was a lot of fun. I was up at Falcons Landing, and what a wonderful, unbelievably astute and energetic group of people that there are there. It was fun. I had a great time and hope they got a lot out of the presentation. But we do that ongoingly. And by the way, if any of you would like to have one of our doctors do a presentation for your group, church, organization, which reminds me, give Dareth Painter a call in our office at 703-698-7117 and schedule that. It's fun to do. We have a great time. It's our gift to you. We do it in conjunction with Caring for Others, a charity foundation that we've worked with for many years. So if you'd like to make that happen, it's real simple to do, 703-698-7117. Before we get started, I want to remind you that coming up September the 17th, our keynote event, Ageless Health 2011. This is going to be a program that you just definitely do not want to miss. If you're serious at any level whatsoever, changing your life, changing your health, Ageless Health is a one-day event that will transform your health forever if you take the opportunity to apply the information that my host staff will present. We start early, we go late, and it's really about taking charge, you doing what it takes to do your life, your health, your wellness, the way it was designed, the genetics that were there initially that kind of got screwed up along the way. Well, this is your opportunity to change that. We're going to challenge you to create your wellness potential. And so you can have that energy, that enthusiasm to do whatever it is that you want to do. So you can lift and run and move and do and, be better than you are now. The other night when I made that presentation at Falcons Landing, what I said to them was this. If you had the opportunity to get 20% more in your health than you have today, what would it be worth to you? And that's something that you have to think about because Ageless Health 2011 will do that to you. You can register online. Go to rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com. And if you do it now, guess what? You'll have the opportunity until June 20th to save 15% off the registration. Your registration includes all course materials. It includes an organic lunch. We have a vendor who stepped up and has provided that for you. It's going to be an exciting day. I promise you, you will not go away disappointed. The event is always sold out. So don't wait because I don't want to say, I'm sorry, we're no more, I can't schedule you, so do that right away. Or if you don't have a computer, some of you still don't, but give our office a call at 703-698-7117 and we'll get you all squared away. Love to have you as our guest. Please be there. I promise you it'll a day that you'll never, ever, ever forget and one that can make a huge difference in your life. Let's talk a little bit before we get started. We have calls already lining up and I will get to them about something that's quite significant. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about several things today if I have the opportunity and time to get to them. We're going to talk about proton pump inhibitors. That stuff you take for GERD. And we're going to talk a little bit about a tea called kombucha tea and a vitamin that can make huge, huge shifts in your health. But first, let's talk about these proton pumps, inhibitors, things, antacids, things that you stop from the heartburn and so forth and so on. Let me start out with saying this. Most of you who are on these antacids or proton pump inhibitors really don't have a problem with too much acid in your stomach. One of several things is happening, and let me explain that to you. Here's the deal. When you're 60 years old, you produce about 25 to 30% of the acid in your stomach that you did when you were 25. So, if you're having a problem in your 40s and 50s and 60s where you never had a problem before or older, and your doctor says, here, take these medications for the rest of your life in some situations, why didn't it occur when you were in your 20s and 30s? Think about that for a second. If we got too much acid, but you're producing less acid as you get older, why is this happening? I'm going to tell you how it happens. Here's the deal. If anybody's ever had a garden, you know that often you put lye on the garden to change the pH, the acid base level in the garden, right? So if you put too much lye on the garden, it burns. It becomes highly alkaline. It goes to the other extreme. So too much alkalinity and too much acidity burn the same way. They make your stomach hot. Most likely, if it's a localized situation, it's because your stomach is dry, meaning not enough acid. But here's the other deal, and here's where the acid portion can come in. At the entry portion into your stomach, there's a valve called the cardiac sphincter, sphincter meaning valve, and that valve sometimes becomes less competent than it normally would be. That means the valve doesn't shut tight. And it doesn't shut tight for a couple of reasons. One, the nerves to the valve, which come from your back, are irritated, and it causes that valve not to close completely. So if there's nerves that are pinched nerves in your back, we call them subluxations, then that valve is going to have a problem. Second thing that is extremely common is you have a muscle that cuts you in half. It's called the diaphragm. And through the diaphragm, you have 3 holes. You have a hole for the aorta that goes down. That's the major artery that goes into the lower part of the body. You have the vena cava, which is the major vein that goes down. And you have something called the esophagus, which is your food tube, and that goes into the stomach. And that's where that cardiac sphincter is. Now, if the stomach doesn't move, when you breathe in and you breathe out, or you change posture positions, the stomach gets jammed up against that muscle, and you squeeze the acid. And it goes into, it regurgitates slightly into the esophagus, and it causes erosion and irritation and so forth. So it doesn't do you any good to put an acid blocker in there. You got to fix the problem, because see, the truth of it is that you need that acid, because otherwise you've got problems. So let's talk about that just for a minute. When you take these medications, when you take these proton pump inhibitors, you dramatically increase your risk for heart attack. And those of you who've already had one, it increases it beyond that. Following closely on the research that's out there right now, there's a tremendous amount of correlation with higher risk of intestinal infections in hospital patients and fractures in postmenopausal women in people who are taking these proton pump inhibitors. So the dangers can be life-threatening, and I'm saying that very seriously. I'm not making this up. This is, straight-up things. So whether you're taking Prilosec or Protonix or Nexium and Prevacid and all that stuff, there's risk that is associated with that, and you need to know it. So why the big deal? Why the problems? These antacids continue to be, over-requested by patients because of Fifth Avenue marketing. I mentioned the other night when I was doing the lecture that Big Pharma spends $30 billion a year or more on marketing of their drugs. $10 billion, with a B, $billion a year is straight to consumer marketing. That's the stuff that you see out there, on the television and the radio and so forth. And they're done so well that they make you feel guilty that you're not taking their medication. And they have these beautiful backgrounds and these people smiling and so forth. But then, the underlying, in case of, report to your physician, and oh, by the way, you can drop dead. Well, that's real true stuff. You have to be very careful. You are literally asking for trouble. The antacids continue to be over-requested because of those marketing schemes, if you will. And, it makes me crazy. I'll sit there and I'll be watching it at dinner time, and I lose my mind. I'll sit there and I'll stop eating, or, God forbid, that I'm in a process of swallowing something because I'm going to choke, because I know the difference of what can be fixed and what should be done. And GERD is not a disease. It's a functional consideration that can be resolved. It dramatically increases your risk. It makes you sicker. It causes all kinds of problems with osteoporosis. You can't absorb protein. It decreases the absorption of B complex and particularly B12. And it goes on and on and on. And we're going to talk about that even more. But before we do that, Fred, you've been waiting very patiently. How can I help you, my friend?
Two things, Doctor. One, I've had gout and I've been taking colchicine for about 20 years, but apparently with the new health care bill, they've outlawed colchicine, and the substitute for it's $250 a month as opposed to $9 a month. I was wondering if there's a homeopathic way to treat the gout. I took my last pill on Thursday, and I got a really bad attack in my left wrist.
Okay, let's talk about gout to begin with. Gout is overproduction of uric acid in the body, and it accumulates in joint spaces. One of the first places it goes to is the big toe. The reason it goes to the big toe first, often, not necessarily all the time, is because that's where the liver acupuncture channel starts, is on the big toe, and then it ends on the chest. Now, you have a lot of areas of clearing and detoxification. But when we eat, and I'm not even going to accuse you, I'm just going to tell you, when you eat a lot of shellfish, or you drink alcohol or coffee, and you're putting a lot of red meats into your diet, you increase your risk dramatically, in certain types of beans and so forth, increases your risk dramatically for gout flare-ups, particularly if your liver cannot handle the processing of these things. And, oh, by the way, if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid in your stomach producing the matrix that it needs to digest these things. So it starts with clearing your diet up. Secondly, it happens because of acupuncture pathways that begin to get suppressed. The acupuncture system is primary in treatment, and we use it all the time in our practice to turn people around. Diet, acupuncture, if the neurological system's involved, you treat that. Now, to answer your question directly, there are some things that can be very useful. One is black cherry juice. Black cherry juice has been known forever in the naturopathic community to treat gout flare-ups, and you don't have to drink a lot of it. You can drink a couple ounces 2 to 3 times a day, eliminating some of the things that I talked about dietarily. And then there's a homeopathic called Ledum Polester. The combination of those two things have worked nicely, but in our experience, if you really want to get rid of it, you've got to change the biochemistry, the matrix. You're not stuck with this forever. And colchicine, by the way, is a nasty drug and can cause all kinds of other problems. Does that help, Fred?
Yeah, it sure does. I don't eat very much red meat at all, and about the only beans I eat are just baked beans, regular baked beans that you buy at the store.
Get rid of them. Go to a diet that is really alkaline. Lots and lots of vegetables, chicken, fish. Stay away from shellfish of any kind. Stay away from alcohol, and stop any coffee you're drinking. If you do those things and you do nothing more than get a little exercise and go out for a walk on a day-to-day basis, and you do the other two things that we talked about, that will help. If that helps significantly but not completely, trust me, acupuncture and manual work and so forth works. We can turn this stuff around real quick.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. One point I'd like to make, though.
Sir, go ahead.
You shouldn't be eating your dinner in front of a television.
I know. I get home late and I watch it, and I have this. I put it on. I want to catch the day, and my wife turns it off on me anyway. So
thanks for your show, Doctor.
Take care, Fred. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. We have several other calls that we're going to get to, and we're going to continue talking about proton pump inhibitors. We're going to talk about kombucha tea and a vitamin that you all need to know about, because it can make a huge difference in a lot of different things that's going on with your body, including cancer.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live, and I am live. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. We're talking about some interesting things, and right now it's called proton pump inhibitors. That's stuff that your doctor writes when you complain that you got a little heartburn. And unfortunately, it's overprescribed, you're over-demanding it, and it's causing you all kinds of problems. There's times, and very, very few, that it's actually useful. The problem is that the acid that you're getting, particularly when you're older, because you don't produce a whole lot of acid, it's because the opening into the stomach, the cardiac valve it's called, is not working the way it's supposed to close things off. And your diaphragm is not giving way as you breathe in and out. So it puts pressure on the stomach, and your stomach squeezes what little bit of acid's there. It gets into the lower portion of the esophagus, and you burn. There's a study that was released actually last year, and this was out of Denmark, and it was about the use of proton pump inhibitors in subsequent cardiovascular disease and events, particularly heart attacks. And these were people who already had their first heart attack, and it was published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, and they followed 56,000 people for 1 year after their first heart attacks. And here's an interesting thing: the researchers found that the proton pump inhibitors, all those things we talked about, the Prilosec and the Nexium and the Protonics and the Prevacid and so forth, okay, dramatically raised the likelihood that the patient would have a second heart attack within 30 days of discharge by 30%. So it increased the risk by a third. So those of you who've had heart attacks or heart problems or ischemic conditions of the heart, your risk of having another heart attack is dramatically increased. Go check out September 21st, 2010, the issue of Annals of Internal Medicine. And, the question you should ask is, why is that? Well, there's a guy by the name of Rubman, and R-U-B-M-A-N, and he explained that the PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, skew, meaning they mess up nutrient absorption, they impede liver function, and after that, they increase the levels of bad bacteria in the intestinal tract, making the heart far more vulnerable to things like inflammatory reaction, arrhythmia, where the heart doesn't beat properly, and oxygen starvation. Now, if that's not enough to make you say, hey, there's got to be a better way, then I give up with you, because there's so much more that you can do. In another study in Boston at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, researchers examined the records of 100,000 adults who were admitted to the hospital for 3 days, and at least 3 days, and they studied this over a 5-year period, and they found that about half of these patients were prescribed acid-suppressing medications, and that these were associated with a higher risk of infection and tremendous danger to really bad stuff, particularly something called C. difficilis. And these patients are also a 53% increased risk of other conditions that were totally unassociated with something that they thought was straight up. You're killing yourself by asking your doctor to give you this medication instead of looking for other reasons and other ways to fix it. Let's go to the phones. Karen, thank you for holding. How can I help you?
Thank you for taking my call, Doctor.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
I have a question about my cholesterol.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned how it's not healthy to have it too low. And let me just give you a little background. Last October, I went for my physical with my medical doctor, and they did the blood workup, and my cholesterol was 205, my HDL was 73, and my LDL was 122. But I was tired. I've been tired for a long time, and, I'm 67, but I don't feel it really. But anyway, so I decided to go to a nutritionist that was recommended. And she had some blood work done, and she discovered that I had a condition called leaky gut.
Okay, that's very common.
Yeah, and so what they did is they also tested me for food sensitivities.
Okay.
And that was last October. So I've been away from those foods: dairy, wheat, oats, gluten, no sugar.
Okay.
So I stopped all that.
All right.
I lost about 10 pounds.
Good for you.
And that brought me down to 115, and I'm 5'6".
That's a little bit too low.
Right. So anyway, she decided that I was just recently tested to see if I've gotten rid of the leaky gut. But
Karen, honey, I'm going to hold you over.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. Yes, we are live. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to any of you. And by the way, ladies, a very, very happy Mother's Day. It's a wonderful thing, because if it wasn't for all of you, we wouldn't have the solidarity in our families. We wouldn't have the love, the nurturing. You did it. We love you. Thank you. Want to remind you that in respect of Mother's Day, Thermography Centers of Fairfax is going to give you a gift. Those of you who've been putting off a breast scan, ladies, remember, thermographic imaging can show up the beginning stages of breast cancer 5 to 8 years before any other diagnostic mode will show it. If you'd like to take advantage, I would encourage you to do it today. Call Dareth Painter, who is the head thermographer, thermographic imaging, 703-943-7248, and get 20% off any scan, whether it's just a simple breast scan or it's a full body scan. This is your opportunity. This month only, but you need to call. Fairfax Thermographic Imaging, 703-943-7248. Dareth Painter. Let's go back to the phones. We have a lovely lady waiting. Karen, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit more specifically. So we've got a cholesterol level that is just slightly above 200. We've got an HDL level that is 72. We've got an LDL level that's about 125. And take me from there.
Okay. Well, my cholesterol level has changed. She tested me for cholesterol because she was concerned about there's an aspect in cholesterol called small LDL particles. Right.
There's the good LDLs, there's the bad LDLs. That's a affectionate way of calling them. And also with your HDLs as well. There's the really good HDLs, and there's some not so good HDLs. So you break them up into fractions.
So the test was completed, and the new results are, any MD would love this, but I don't follow that. Those people.
Tell me what you got.
My total cholesterol went from 205 to 148.
Wow.
No drugs.
Excellent.
Then my LDL is 79. It went from 122 to 79.
Okay.
And my HDL is 63. It went from 73 to 63.
Okay.
Now, the bad news is you probably know what this means. It's real Greek to me. The LPA.
Okay, lipoproteinase.
Yeah, it should be no more than 30, and it's 124.
Okay, not good.
So what she's done is she's put me on niacin.
Niacin will work, particularly time release, 500 milligram time release.
She's put me on twice a day. 500 milligrams.
I don't think you need that much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know your whole case history, so, she's obviously helped you significantly, so I'm not going to, jump into the middle of it. But generally you start people out with about 500 milligrams once a day, and a time-release formula. We use Thorne Laboratories, which is an excellent company. And
yeah, I use Thorne.
Okay, so you're doing well.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that I would have you do before I did anything else is I would have you get out and walk every day and make sure that you're getting out and walking start out with about 15 minutes and then go to 16 and 18 and get yourself up to where you're walking a half an hour every day. Try to get, if your legs will do it and you're in shape, try to get 2 miles within about 30 to 35 minutes. And you'll find just doing that will make a significant shift in all of those markers. The other thing that you want to make sure you do, have her send you to the lab and get your 25 hydroxy vitamin D levels. Make sure those are the level should be above 65, preferably I like to see them at 70, 75. Do that. Vitamin K is necessary, but also iodine. Most people are highly deficient in both vitamin D and iodine. We talked a little bit about that last week. And if you get those two things up, you do the exercise, I think everything else will modify itself. The other thing is your essential fatty acids, your omega-3s. Some people can't take fish oils. There are other forms of it, borage flax oil and so forth, but where you are right now is highly, highly fixable. At 148, your cholesterol is not too low, particularly since it's not drug-induced. The problem is with niacin, your cholesterol will come down a little bit more. So I would do other things in addition, and then if you start seeing that cholesterol drop more, then get rid of the niacin.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Even though it's helping the LPA?
If you get out and walk and you get the vitamin D in your body, that's going to change that all by itself.
I'm taking 4,000 vitamin D now.
What's your vitamin D level? Do you know?
Let's see. I can find that on my chart.
Vitamin D should, like I said, anything...
it's 57.
Okay, it's just above normal. Anything under 50 is insufficient. Anything under 32 is deficient. You want to get that up. I would increase it to 6,000 until you get it up to about 70.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Karen, thank you for your call.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Take care.
You're welcome. Raven, how can I help you?
My call. I am suffering from heartburn that's diagnosed as a GERD since more than 20 years.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 60 plus.
All right. So, as we were saying earlier, with heartburn, we're going to get into a little bit more of it. But since you asked the question, here's how you deal with it. Are you taking medications? Are you taking any of the protein?
Yeah, Prilosec and so many things. Even I had a surgery.
Okay.
Nissan fundoplication.
Yeah. You have to get somebody who really understands how to balance it, because at this point, if you just stop taking the medication, you're going to get something called a rebound phenomena. It actually will be worse.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So there's ways of changing that, and you have to go very, very slowly. One of the things that you would do is you go get something called George's Aloe Juice, and you can get that at Whole Foods or the apothecary at Wegmans and so forth. And you drink George, like the name George.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, George's Aloe Juice, 2 ounces, maybe 3-4 times a day. It'll begin to heal it. Comfrey will also help that. Then you start putting high levels of a good, strong probiotic, good bacteria in your intestinal tract, and you take at least 3 dosages a day. That begins, but you have to take out the things that also are irritating the system. Anything, and I'm going to give you the mantra: sugars, sodas, coffee, black tea, fast foods, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, preservatives, additives, anything that is not organically made. You have to go mostly to vegetables, and you have to eat chicken and some fish and bake or broil those things. Stay away from anything that is fried. Stay away from grain, particularly anything that is glutinous. Those things will cause an allergic response within the intestinal tract, increase an inflammatory reaction, and increase your GERD. Now, having said that, that's the nutritional piece of it. The structural piece is that the nerves that come from the middle of your back, between your shoulder blades, goes to the stomach and goes to that sphincter that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, right.
Also, the nerves that come from the neck, the second and third vertebrae, house a nerve called the phrenic nerve, and it goes down and allows the diaphragm to work. If those nerves aren't working properly, then that diaphragm's not going to work, and the stomach area is not going to work. That valve is not going to stay closed, and you have more problems. That should, that covers things generally. If I can help you specifically, let us know. You can also make an appointment, or simply get a...
By the way, if you don't mind, will you please spell the first Georgia?
George, George, George's.
Just the name of the medicine?
No, it's aloe juice. Aloe, A-L-O-E. Aloe juice. George's Aloe Juice. You know what you can do, too? You can always re-listen to this program. If you go to RoselleRadio.com, this program will be there again, and you can listen to it, and you can listen to it repetitively and get the information back.
And I'm taking aloe gel.
Aloe will help as well. Make sure it's food grade. Raven, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Any of the programs and anything that's, if you'd like to talk to me off the air, all you have to do is go to RoselleCare.com. That's RoselleCare.com, or listen to Roselle Radio, and all of these programs will be there for your re-listening pleasure. Also, you can go to WMAL.com and go to Dr. Tom Roselle live. First you go to Listen Live, and then find the program, and they're usually posted by Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, and there's always 4 of them that are sitting there for you. But if you'd like to listen to any program that we've had in the past, fully, RoselleRadio.com, and we put that. And also, by the way, follow us on Facebook. If you have a Facebook account, you can go in. We have 2 accounts. Obviously, I have a personal account that I go back and forth with, but also we have Roselle Care or Roselle Center for Healing. And if you go to Roselle Center for Healing, I post repetitively during the week all kinds of health tidbit information. So go on, be a friend, and we'll let you know when we post something. And I'm always talking about things like this on an ongoing basis. Prilosec and all the other proton pump inhibitors are not good things, and it's stuff that you want to avoid as much as you possibly can, preferably at all costs. The side effects are not happy, and they can cause you more damage, heart attacks, and osteoporosis, and absorption problems than you're willing to step up for too. So, let me tell you about something else, and that something else is vitamin B5. Vitamin B5 is one of the most important vitamins that you can put in your system. It will decrease cholesterol. It will decrease triglycerides. It will decrease your apolipoproteins A. I hope our listener is still listening to me. And it will increase your HDLs. The apolipoproteins are very specific. These are the guys that really tell you whether or not you're going to plaque. They deal with direct and indirect levels of inflammatory response, and they're extremely, extremely important. You have to take a stable form of B5, and that means that you've got to get an organic source. And oral administration of B5 has been consistently favorable with its effect on lipids in the body, hardening the arteries, something called arteriosclerosis, and diabetes as well. So if you want to make an impact just by using a very simple vitamin, go get B5. And you'll find that a lot of things will change for you. It's amazing. Sometimes we've used it in very, very high levels. I'm not going to prescribe a level because I can't. I don't know your particular condition. But you're not going to have any problems taking about 50 milligrams a day. And just doing that, you're going to see some significant shifts. There's been some studies out there as well that B5 can be significant in protecting against cataracts. And it has a huge impact on adrenal function and also depression, which is, one of those things that everybody seems to chase. We've had a look at depression over the years from a place of blood sugar irregular pathways. If you get too high, you get too low. That's where some of the manic phases come in. You're either, high or low, and B5 seems to make a difference. Give it a try. Can't hurt you. The dosages in those things are much higher than what I'm telling you right now on the air. But, again, I'm not going to prescribe for you because you're not my patient. And to do that would not be the best thing in the world. Want to remind you, coming up, September the 17th, Ageless Health 2011, and we would love for you to be our guest. We'd love for you to be there because it's a day that you will not forget. You can register online by going to rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com. And if you register between now and June 20th, you will receive 15% off. We have a vendor that's going to provide lunch for you, organic box lunches. It's going to be great. There's actually some upgrades in registration that you get to have lunch with me and ask me all kinds of questions, and we'll spend a very intimate hour together. We're going to have core training demonstration in the morning before we get started on stage. We're going to have at breakout time at noon, we're going to have a demonstration in Tai Chi and Tai Chi Guan. We're really set it up this year where we have a lot of vendors. It's going to be sold out. Don't wait. Get your 15% off. And by the way, those of you who attended last year or the year before, we have a little extra discount for you, so make sure that you give us a call, find out what that's all about. But June 20th, the deadline is over, and there will be no discounts after that.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You've been listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. I have been at 888-630-WMAL. Every Sunday, I'm here at 12 o'clock to answer your questions and put a little different spin on it, if you will, to give you an opportunity to do something without drugs, without surgery, to reclaim your life, and to remind you, like the title of my book, that your health is a do-it-yourself program. By the way, if you'd like to purchase a copy of that book, all you have to do is go to rosellecare.com. Ladies, don't forget, only this month, Thermography Centers at Fairfax is going to be offering you 20% off of breast scans and full body scans, and all you need to do is call Dareth Painter at 703-943-7248. That's 703-943-7248, and take advantage of it because this could save your life. It finds things that nothing else and no other process of examination will show up that early. And if you got the time, you can change anything. Your body's extremely, extremely forgiving. Promised you we talk about a very important tea, kombucha tea, also called Pau d'Arco, Ipsiro, Lapacho. And it's been out there for a long time, and many people have been drinking it. We've used it in our practice forever and ever and ever and ever. So, what's the big deal? Why does it work? Why should you take it? Well, the deal is that kombucha tea is made from the bark of a tree in South America, particularly in Argentina. It seems to have the best forms of it. And it's been used from everything from treating patients with mold and fungus problems to fatigue problems to MS to AIDS, cancer. And it does have an effect, but here's where the effect is. It dramatically speeds up metabolism, increases immune strength and response. And, one of the things that some of your actors and actresses have found out about it increases or gets rid of wrinkles. I'm not sure that that's the truth, but, it's not going to hurt you, and it's actually not bad tasting. And it also helps control cravings of coffee and alcohol. So this tea, this bark of this tree that's ground up and you use as a strong tea, and by the way, make it very strong, the effect is significant, will maximize your capacity to resolve a lot of problems that maybe not responding now. It's a fermented tea, and it has the ability to kill all kinds of pathogenic microorganisms. There's if you like to do the research, there's a naturopathic doc out there that you can go online and check out. His name is Mark Stengler, and he will give you more details and more information. It's actually something we probably should pursue more significantly. When I talk about kombucha, it's because it's part of a treatment program for many different things that we use in our practice. We use it in concentrated tinctures, we use it in the tea, we use it in tablets. It depends on you and how you can, taste things and not want to taste things. And so, but really kombucha tea is extraordinary. It works very, very nicely. Today is a very special day. It's Mother's Day. Be nice to all those mothers that you're associated with, whether it's your mother, whether it's your grandmother, whether it's your godmother, whether it's your sister, whether it's an aunt, or whoever it is in your life that happens to be a mother. Let's respect them, because without them, there wouldn't be life, and without them, we wouldn't have the capacity to have family and the nurturing and the love that we all crave every day of our lives. Mothers are wonderful, wonderful people. I'll be here next week, 12 o'clock, and I'll be here with a very special guest. So make sure you stay tuned. And if you want to listen to this program over again, go to RoselleRadio.com. If you'd like to talk to me off air, all you need to do is go to RoselleCare.com. See you soon. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Bye. Tired of being in pain or just not feeling well? You've been told that medication is the only way out, and when that fails, surgery might be next? This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Since 1985, the doctors at the Roselle Center for Healing have offered complimentary medical, chiropractic, acupuncture, and other alternative care procedures for the treatment of health problems. Let Roselle Center for Healing help you return to a vibrant and active life. There are options to suffering needlessly. For more information, go online at rosellecare.com or call 703-698-7117. Health is a do-it-yourself program. That's reality and the title of my new book. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Health is a do-it-yourself program is a most understandable introduction to natural health care. My book will take you step by step through why the body breaks down and gets sick, but also how it repairs itself. You will finally understand the often confusing world of natural care. Order it today by going to Amazon.com or from our website, RoselleCare.com. That's RoselleCare.com. Health is a do-it-yourself program. That's reality and the title of my new book. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Health is a do-it-yourself program is a most understandable introduction to natural health care. My book will take you step by step through why the body breaks down and gets sick, but also how it repairs itself. You will finally understand the often confusing world of natural care. Order it today by going to Amazon.com or from our website, RoselleCare.com. That's RoselleCare.com. Hi, this is Dr. Tom Roselle. If you're looking for a wellness and healthcare environment to showcase your business, products, and services, consider being a wellness partner of Dr. Tom Roselle Live and the Roselle Center for Healing. From in-show advertising to on-site events and digital marketing, we have several offerings that can highlight your business with a well-received and established audience. For more information, visit WMAL.com, keyword Roselle, that's ROSELLE, and click on Become a Sponsor.
Did you know that routine mammograms can increase radiation exposure to breast tissue 1,000 times over a chest X-ray? Now consider a simple, non-invasive, and totally safe medical procedure approved by the FDA since 1982 that can detect breast cancer 5 to 8 years before it can be visualized on a mammogram. Infrared thermographic imaging can accurately detect the initial signs of breast cancer as increased blood supply and metabolic rate, which is recorded as heat. Why expose yourself to radiation when accurate and safe medical detection is available? Call the Thermography Center of Fairfax to schedule a breast exam today at 703-948-7248. That's 703-943-7248. For more information, visit www.thermographyscan.net. That's thermographyscan.net for the Thermography Center of Fairfax.
The Roselle Center for Healing is a proud supporter of breast cancer awareness and reminds you to conduct a monthly breast self-examination and a thermographic breast scan as part of your annual wellness checkup.